guys, we've just come back from 25 days on the Gibb River Road, which is an absolutely amazing experience. We've had such a great time. I just wanted to share a quick little video to answer a couple of questions that we've had through Instagram and from some of the people that we've met in the park in the last few days. Just some commonly asked questions we thought we might give you a bit of a hand if you're planning a trip this year and you know, really looking forward to it, but you just don't know what to expect. Listen on. The number one question we're asked is, what are the conditions on the road like? Like with any gravel road, it is quite variable. We did hit some heavy corrugations, not some hairy ones, we did hit some heavy corrugations along the way. But there was also some smoother parts, which I was quite surprised as well. Running from Derby to Kununurra, the first little bit from Derby was tarred, and coming out from Equestro to Kununurra is tarred as well. Everything in between is dirt and gravel. There is some blue shale sections between around the Kulumbaroo turnoff and Home Valley Station. We did blow a tyre, we got some punctures through there, so do be careful and do take some care with the pressures on your tyres as well. You should be fine, just drive to the conditions and you should be sweet. We did see some graders on the road as well, so it does change from week to week, and I'm sure that if you check in with the tourist information centres on either end, they'll be able to give you a little bit more updates on where things are at right now. As you're probably aware, the wet season last year wasn't the greatest, so a lot of the gorges and causeways are quite dry. A lot of the falls we came across were either really a trickle or not even running at all. So just bear that in mind when you're planning your trip. You will find that as the season goes on, things will dry up. That will affect some of the national park campgrounds as well, as they're fed by the natural streams, so the toilets and the showers won't work. They'll probably shut down a little bit earlier than normal, although you can still get a day use to get into the gorges regardless. But just do think about that when you are planning where you're going to be camping for the night, because you might need to employ a plan B should those be closed as you get there. Fuel on the road is not too bad. Everywhere carries diesel, so if you're in a diesel car, you're in good luck. There's plenty of options there. We run unleaded, so we were a little bit stuck until we got to Mount Barnett, but we were okay. We did carry 60 litres worth of fuel in a jerry can, but after a couple of the offshoots and whatnot, you do actually go through a bit more petrol, and with the dirt roads, that's also an issue as well. So do be aware of that and think about that when you're planning your trip out. We were actually lucky too. We asked around a couple of stations and we did manage to get some extra fuel from stations that do only officially stock diesel, so if you do get stuck, ask around. There's plenty of helpful people on those stations that can help you out if they've got the means to do so. But as I said, fuel costs are around about that $2.05, which we saw at Equestro, but it did get up to $2.20 at Drysdale. We didn't go any further up the Kulumbaroo Road, but potentially you could be paying at least that, if not a little bit more, the more remote you get. So do factor that into your budgets, and just be aware that that's what you're going to expect to pay when you're on the road this year. We were pleasantly surprised by how easy it was to get water on the road. We stocked and we planned accordingly, and we did carry a lot more than what we would normally carry for any sort of trip, but all of the stations, the national park stops, have all got running water. They've all got running showers, and so we were pretty blown away by that. We didn't even really dip into our spare water supplies for any of the trip, so just prepare accordingly. Don't be silly with your water, because some of those gorges do get hot and it is a bit thirsty work, but just know that you're not too far away from water at any given point along the road, which is a really nice way to be. If you haven't already, get a WA National Parks pass. The annual passes are really cost effective, and after you add up a couple of nights in the parks, you will find that they will start to pay for themselves. We were looking at about $13 per night, and that's over several stays. It's also useful too for when you finish on your Gibb trip. You can also get down the coast and experience a bit more of the state, and you'll find that it pays for itself many times over. So if it's not on your list of things to do before you leave, please do check out the visitor centres before you leave, and make sure that you pick up one of those passes, because it will save you in the long run, and it's good for the hip pocket. Of course, you're going to stock up before you leave Derby, Kununurra, Wyndham, wherever you're going from. However, when you get on the road, there are some limited places there where you can get fresh fruit, vegetables and bread. Please note that they're not, readily available, but they are certainly out there. A lot of those places don't get a delivery until maybe once a week, maybe even a little bit less than that, so do take that into consideration. But if you're lucky enough, you will be able to grab some, a tomato or lettuce. Bread we found was pretty good. They usually keep it frozen, and it's usually pretty fresh, so fresh sandwiches are available once you get onto that. Some of the stations that we stayed in as well do offer really lovely meals as well, so whether everything from a buffet to a gourmet meal to a barbecue, it's really worth checking those out as well, because we found that was a really good way to break up the meals on our trip, and we really tried some really amazing food. So don't cut yourself off from that, and do try to experience that if you can, if you're into it, because you won't regret it. It's great to be able to keep in touch with family and friends on the road, but there is no mobile reception across any of the Gibb River, so just be aware of that when you're planning your trip. There are, however, plenty of other options. So a lot of the stations, or most of the stations that we came across, do have a payphone. They're all card only, so you can stock up on phone cards before you get on the road. There are some available on the road, but as the season wears on, those stocks might become a little bit lower too. So if you're thinking about it, it is worth grabbing maybe a $10 or $20 card that you can then just use into the payphones on any of the stations along the way. We also used roaming Wi-Fi, which was available at El Questro, Mount Elizabeth, and a couple of the other places as well. It's a single account that's provided by a single service provider. So once you purchase your 500 meg or your 1 gigabyte of data from those guys, you should be able to use it across any of the other stations. Don't feel that you have to use 1 gig in a one station stay. You probably should be able to use it across the entire Gibb River Road network, and then it does work into some of the other accommodations that are outside the Gibb as well, should you have any data left over. One thing we loved about the trip was the people that we met along the way. Through all the stations, even through the national parks, the camp hosts and whatnot, they would just bend over backwards to give you assistance or point you in the right direction. So whether you're having mechanical issues with the car, if there was issues with the van, or even just, you know, where should I go to next and what should I get up to, they were just more than willing to give you an assistance, show you what was what, and help you on your way. They want to see you having a good time and, you know, come back again in the future. So the last piece of advice I would give anyone who's taking on this trip is to go and check out the tourist information centres. They're going to have the most up-to-date and latest information for you. They're talking to people who are coming off the road all the time, so they'll tell you where things are at and what's going on. They've also got a book that is printed by the Derby Visitor Information Centre. It's $5 to pick it up. But it's well worth your while because we spend a lot of time doing a lot of our planning on that. It tells you the latest situation with the stations, how much to expect to pay for accommodation, and all sorts of other planned trips and tours throughout. So $5 really well spent, and I believe you can pick it up on the Wyndham and Kununurra end as well. So check it out and make sure it's part of your kit before you hit the road. There you have it, guys. That's our wrap up of the Gibb River Road for 2019. We hope it's been helpful and it's gone some way to helping you get planned for the trip this year. If we haven't answered any of your questions, please don't hesitate to drop us a message, and don't forget to like us on Facebook and Instagram and follow us on YouTube. We're more than happy to catch up with you, and we'd love to hear from you and see what the road has for you as well. Look forward to doing more trips, and yeah, stay tuned for more videos.